everyone, and welcome to my channel. This is Hiba from My Little Journal, and I'm excited to be working in my Scrappy Spiral notebook. So for my Scrappy Spiral notebook, or the setup, I shared it with my Peaches, which is my YouTube membership, and I wanted to share with you, my subscribers, how to use the new Scrappy Spiral notebooks that I have available in my Etsy shop. So I made these changes to make the process easier and simpler for you. And the changes that I made to the notebook really made a huge difference. Your photos are bigger, you have more space to add titles, more space to add journaling, which I really love. Now, my first layout here is going to be all about my son getting COVID. And obviously, the year didn't start out great because he had COVID, he was quarantining, I didn't want to get sick. So I was bringing him food, kind of like room service, every single day, at least 4 times a day. So I took pictures. I love documenting things like this because it kind of, reminds you of what you made for them, what you went through, because the struggle was real. It was very annoying doing this every single day, a couple of times a day. So what I decided to do is capture those photos, add them to the boxes. Some of the boxes I didn't fill out completely because I wanted to add embellishments or maybe a subtitle or something. And the bigger gray box, which I created on purpose for you to use as a space for adding titles or journaling. And I'm going to use mine to add a large title. I'm just stamping COVID in the house. And the smaller alpha stamp from Carrie Bradford is basically the only alpha stamp that I will add all the alphas on the block and stamp it all at once because it was made for that. And you'll see that it has multiple I's, multiple E's, and that is done on purpose, her adding multiple vowels. So when you're stamping one large word, you don't have to, stamp the stamps individually, if that makes sense. Anyways, now that I stamped out my title, I do want to use these adorable rub-ons from the Paper Person shop. These rub-ons were from a kit, like it was all about doctor appointments, medication, things like that. Really like the medicine bottle, so I'm going to use that to fill in the space next to my photo. I shrunk down my photo on purpose to have some space on the right side where I can add an embellishment or something. And I really like that medicine bottle, so I added that. And I'm also going to grab my pen and just add a little bit of doodling around my medicine bottle. I have been really enjoying doodling around my stamping and my embellishments. It just really makes it pop. Anyways, I want to use the bottom portion of my layout for journaling, but I want to add a subtitle. So I'm going to use the stamp set to stamp I am so done, because by the end of the week, I was done with this. I was just like, come on, man, you need to test negative at some point. And while I was stamping, I remembered that I had a COVID kit from the Paper Person shop that I barely used. So I went through the kit and I was trying to find something that I can use. And I do end up finding a few embellishments from the die cut pack. I'm going to end up using this little blue embellishment that matched really well. And it said results positive or negative. And I also really like the all we talk about is COVID and then shrug. So this was perfect because that's literally all we were talking about for a week if faith is still positive. And so I'm going to use that to separate the two photos. They looked very similar and it just needed a pop of color, so I'm going to use that die cut for that. Also decided that the box right next to it was a perfect place for me to stamp out these medicine bottles and trim down the blue die cut and add that right underneath it. I really didn't need the whole die cut. There was a lot of white space on there, so I didn't need all of it. So I ended up trimming down the die cut and adding it right underneath the medicine bottles. Just kept the results positive or negative, and it filled out the box perfectly. I do want to color in my stamping just to bring in some color to that box. I'll also end up adding my journaling to that bottom box as well. It will fill in the box perfectly. And I also want to stamp the date. So because I'm going to be using my Scrappy Spiral notebook like last year, where I'm dividing the pages by month and documenting whatever happened throughout the month of, let's say, January. So I want to also keep up with the dates, like when this happened throughout the month. So I'm going to be using a larger date stamp. I usually use my small one and just stamp it, and I'll do that for the next layout. But for now, I had this large date box, and I thought that I could go ahead and use a larger date stamp to fill in that space. Once I do that, we can move on to my next layout in January. And before I forget, I did want to mention that these Scrappy Spiral notebooks are sold out. I believe at this point, we have one left. I believe it's the Peaches cover, but I am restocking these Scrappy Spiral notebooks. So if you missed out, make sure to keep an eye out for my YouTube channel, where I will announce the restock. Anyways, let's move on to my next spread. I'm going to be documenting a weekend spent with my daughter, my niece, my sister. We had a great time. And I had a few pictures from that weekend. I'm going to end up filling most of the boxes. I'm going to keep the larger gray box right in the center empty, and that bottom box as well, hoping to find something to fill those two spaces. So I know I want to add my journaling. So I start with that because once I add my journaling, I know how much space I have left to stamp or to add embellishing. And I found the perfect stamp to fill that space and to add a title. This is an old Studio Calico stamp, and it says, "Start each day with a grateful heart." And use that stamp to fill in the space, but you're going to see it doesn't stamp so well. So I end up opening my Scrappy Spiral notebook and setting my page directly on my desk, hoping that it would stamp better the second time around, but it doesn't really work. I mean, it does fill in some of the gaps, but not so well. So I'm going to end up using my marker to fill in those gaps. I do that all the time with these larger stamps. Sometimes they just don't stamp so well. And so I just end up using my marker to fill in the gaps. Anyways, I also found these little bursts on the stamp, and I thought they were so cute and perfect to add around my title. And then once I'm done stamping that, I'm just going to grab my black marker and color in the gaps within my title. So I have this 2x2 box that I need to fill in, and I thought I would use some of my die cuts. I'm just going to go through my die cuts and try to find something to add to my 2x2 box. And you're going to see me going through this pack. It's an old Studio Calico die cut pack, and there's this really cute circle with the sun. I thought it was cute enough, but found this tag that filled the box perfectly, and it had a really cute flower that brings in some color. So I thought, why not? I'm just going to go with that. And while I have my stickers out, I went through them to find little stickers to add to my photos. I love using any white space in a photo to add stickers and use my stickers. So I ended up adding food coma to one of the photos. I also did my best to another photo with some white space. And now I can kind of play with this little tag that's going to fill in my 2x2 box. I end up stamping weekend vibes, and I'm going to also stamp some hearts around that as well. A great place for me to add color to my page. Once I'm done with that, I'm just going to stamp my date and call my layout done. So easy, so simple. This is why I love the Scrappy Spiral notebook. And I love that the new changes work more for me now. For the different templates, it really keeps it fresh and new. Anyways, you guys, before I wrap this up, I did want to remind you that I will be restocking my Scrappy Spiral notebooks with some old covers and new covers as well. And if you are working in your own Scrappy Spiral notebook, don't forget to tag me on Instagram. Use the hashtag Scrappy Spiral Notebook so I can see your layouts. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. And I hope to see you guys very soon. Bye.